Welcome and thank you so much for being here. I'm Greta Valigi, and today I'm presenting you my thesis collection titled Viaggio. I grew up hearing wonderful stories of my grandparents' life. They were from Sicily, and traveling has always been part of their lifestyle. They traveled across Africa too, where actually my grandparents had a fishing business, and I just heard incredible stories about flying on cargo planes with exotic animals, and my grandmother having pet monkeys in the house, and it was just incredible narratives that really were part of my upbringing. So last summer I was visiting my family in Sicily, and I found a box full of beautiful vintage photographs that documented all these journeys. So I knew immediately that would have became the inspiration for my collection. So coming back to New York with all this wonderful material, not only that informed, and we'll see how the development of my clothing, but it also transformed into print development. And the way I approached it was through the experimentation of a photographic process called cyanotype. For me, digital printing would have been too precise, so screen printing was a little bit too graphic, and I really wanted to maintain the beauty of the vintage imagery that were part of this collection that I found and treasured. So here we have an example. The cyanotype on this dress. So my fabric was pre-treated with chemicals that react to the sunlight, and then I developed really big negatives of the photographs on really large plexiglass screens, and then I exposed it under the sunlight for about a half hour, and then rinsed it, and the result were these beautiful blue tone photographs on all my textiles. So in my collection, it was really important for me to reference back the way Italian people dressed at that time, 50s and 60s, and very much about that glamorous and effortless and beautiful put together looks. And so we'll see how I reference that later on, soon actually. So I would like to call in Shiloh. She's wearing look number 2. It's a denim dress with a patchwork top. We have a gingham shirting and men sitting in the back. I referenced a lot of utilitarian details, such in the back, we call them a little bit of overalls. It's very wearable, it's very soft, and then it's layered on top of printed pants. So it was important in my collection to play around the idea of feminine and masculine, referencing menswear in a few ways, but always keeping things very feminine. I developed some interesting details, such as referencing menswear. I did some bias binding with vintage ties, and I used it to finish some of my clothes. So it adds that element of, she's very feminine, but she likes to take things from his closet, and it's very sophisticated and very subtle. Another way that informed my shape-making process was to actually use the images as a vehicle to pattern. So I projected my own photos on a big wall, and I would draw the shapes, abstracting them, and then cut them in paper and achieve shapes that eventually became real garments, such as these tops. It's the same shape. This is the cyanotype version. Once again, I made my own bias binding out of this fabric. And it created edges. And I was trying as much as possible to develop very unique finishing details. I would like to call in Deborah. She's wearing a 6th look. on feminine and masculine, and draped versus tailored, a lot of subtleties and matching easy-to-tear fabrics with very high-end fabrics. You see again, menswear and feminine references, very soft. This comes from a deconstructed men's blazer that I flipped upside down and aligned with the same union shirting. And here we have a zero waist coat. I didn't want to cut into my fabric, so I kept cutting very minimal into my printed textiles because they were so precious. And again, take on menswear pants in this cashmere oversized pant where I reference the same details again. Also, I was really lucky to collaborate with Shoe Polytechnic that sponsored my collection and produced these amazing shoes that we're all wearing, and they featured original vintage buttons from a collection that my great aunt passed along to me, and I was really, really excited to work with these details as well. And clearly, I have to mention the generosity of the Valencia family for the wonderful textiles that they provided me, as well as Angela Capellaro from Italy. And they very much made my collection possible. Very generous donations of textiles. Thank you so much.
You obviously succeeded with your thesis, but this is an absolutely mature and complete, unbelievable collection.